Okay, Sophia, what we're going to talk about now is the staff, which is what we use to put notes on paper, and the notes. We're going to talk about 3 different kinds of notes today. But the staff, first of all, consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces that we put on paper that go across like this. Okay? It's called horizontal, by the way. There's 5 horizontal lines, and this means horizontal, straight across. What does this mean? Any idea? If the lines were up and down? It's vertical. Lines that are up and down are called vertical lines. But the lines of the staff are horizontal lines. They go across the paper, not up and down. Okay? So there's 5 lines on the staff and 4 spaces. And we always count them from the bottom up. Okay? So the first line would be this one right here. This would be line number
1.
Okay, and the line above that would be line number
2.
The line above that,
3.
the line above that,
4.
and the line above that.
5.
And then in between the lines, there's 4 spaces. The space between lines 1 and 2 is space number
1.
The space between 2 and 3
2.
is space number 2. The space between 3
3.
and 4, and the space between 4 and 5
4.
is number 4. So there's your 5 lines and 4 spaces. On the staff, we can put notes, and the notes later on will represent the notes on the musical alphabet. Okay? The notes can be put on a line or on a staff. And if you look over here, we have 3 kinds of notes we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the whole note. The whole note looks like an egg, and it's got a white space in the middle of it. Okay? And it's real simple to look at because there's not much to it. It's just a circle. Okay? If you look at the half note, the half note looks like a whole note except that it has
a stem.
It's called a stem. It's a stick that you put on the note, and it makes it different from the whole note. So the half note has the note head, which is a circle part, and a stem. Okay? And that's what a half note looks like. If you look at a quarter note, you'll see that it looks a lot like a half note, doesn't it? What's different about it though?
It's colored in.
It's colored in.
Circle.
The circle, which is called, remember what it's called?
Note head.
The note head is colored in, and it also has a stem, just like the half note, but that's called a quarter note. So let's go back. The whole note, how do you spell whole note, by the way?
WHOLE
Yeah.
NOT.
N-O-T-E. So it's 2 words, whole, not like a hole in a donut kind of hole, but whole like the whole thing. W-H-O-L-E. Okay, and then the word note. The half note is spelled how?
The half note is spelled H-A-L-F-N-O-T.
And the second word is N-O-T-E, note, half note. And it's a note head that's not colored in and a stem. The quarter note, man, that's a long word, quarter. How do you spell quarter?
Q-U-A-R-T-E-R.
Quarter, like the quarters that we have to buy sodas and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, quarter note. And what does a quarter note look like again?
Quarter note looks like a D.
Kind of looks like a D, but it looks like a half note, but it's colored in. The note head is colored in, and it also has a stem. Okay? All right. The notes can be put on the staff in 2 different ways. They can either be a space note or a line note. If a note is a space note, we put it on one of the spaces of the staff. If it's a space note, we put it on one of the spaces of the staff. Take a look at this first note. What kind of note is that?
That is a half note.
It's a half note, and what space is it on the staff?
Second.
It's on the second space. Very good. What kind of note is this one here?
Whole note.
That's a whole note. And what space is it on the staff?
Third.
It's on the 3rd space. How about this note right here? What kind of note is that?
That is a quarter note.
That is a quarter note, and what space is it on? On the fourth space of the staff. So those are space notes. Now we can have some other notes on spaces. On the first space, for example, we don't have an example there yet. And we can also have notes above and below the staff on the spaces above and below the staff. Okay, these are line notes. Okay, this first note here, what kind of note is that?
That is a half note.
It's a half note, and what line is it on the staff?
Second.
It's on the second line. How about this note right here? What kind of note is that?
Whole note.
It's a whole note. And what line is it on the staff? On the first line of the staff. How about this note right here? What kind of note is that?
Quarter note.
That is a quarter note, and it is on what line of the staff?
Fourth.
On the fourth line of the staff. We can also have a note on the fifth line of the staff or the third line of the staff, but we didn't do those. We can also have notes above and below the staff on lines also, and those are called ledger lines. We'll talk about that later on. For now, we need to make sure we understand that we can put notes on lines and spaces on the staff. And they can be half notes, quarter notes, whole notes, or other kinds of notes that we'll talk about later on.
Oh wait, you already said half notes.
Yeah. Okay, do you understand so far how staff works?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to get some staff paper, and you're going to draw some notes on the staff. They're going to be line notes or space notes, and I'll show you how long the stems need to be and whether they need to be up or down. Okay?
Okay.
Very good.